So what's up, people? And hope everybody's doing well. Today I just wanted to make a random video over some of the things that I've recently heard. One of them is a tragedy, and the other is a comedy. And the tragedy is, of course, with regards to the fact that, Alita Battle Angel didn't get nominated for anything. And the one that is very tragic is that it didn't get nominated for even Best Visual Effects. And I'm not the person who best describes that. If you want to hear about why Alita should at least be nominated, go see Tan Kwan Leo's video with regards to that. He does a really good job on it. It is also a comedy in some sorts, in the fact that these experts who ignored and bypassed Alita, chose some other movies, which, just looking at the films, I do not feel comes up to the level of, uniqueness and quality that Alita brought up. And so, you would think that this may be a gripe fest. But to be honest, what I wanted to do was the other information that I found, which made me very happy, which was that Joker got nominated for like 11 Oscars. And I thought that was great. So from what I understand, it got nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Director, Best Musical Score, Best Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Sound Mixing, Best Costume Design, Best Sound Editing, Best Film Editing, Best Makeup, and Hairstyle. And to be honest, I am not a film connoisseur, so I wouldn't know what qualities would make a film get nominated for this. I am just a major fan, of things like Alita Battle Angel or The Joker. And so I'm looking at this from a fan's perspective. And what's unfortunate is, of course, a lot of the recent so-called critics and experts are also just fans, because of the fact that you could see a lot of the criticisms or the compliments that they give specific movies have nothing to do with the quality of the movie. It just has to do with their ideology. But I don't want to go into that today. I just wanted to say that from a fan's perspective, I thought this was great. And I am glad that the Academy Awards, credited this movie, because I thought it was a fantastic movie. My gosh, I like this movie a lot. And to give you an idea of, just how I feel about it, I don't go see a lot of movies. And to be honest, for 2019, I only went to the theater about 8 times, of which 6 was Alita Battle Angel, and the other 2 were Endgame and The Joker. And you know how much I like Alita Battle Angel and how much I'm a fan of that. And yet, I will even say that probably the best movie I saw for this year was The Joker. That movie was insanely good from my perspective. Insanely might be the best way to say it too. And I am hoping that it at least gets Best Director, because it's one of the most uniquely directed movies I have ever seen. And my gosh, is it a mind blowout. And I'm hoping that it does also win Best Actor and Best Picture as well. I don't know what the other movies are, and so I can't say, but I think it qualifies for being up there based upon a lot of the other movies that I have seen over the years and just how unique this movie was. And why I feel it's such an amazing movie is, first of all, it does take you back to some of the really dramatic movies that you saw back in the 1970s that didn't have anything to do with action, that didn't have to do with superheroes, that didn't have to do with good versus bad. It just was about drama of the human spirit. You know, it was movies such as Taxi Driver or Dog Day Afternoon. Those types of movies were just talked about ordinary people going through some very unordinary situations in their lives. And of course, Joker is not particularly, or Arthur Fleck, is not your ordinary person, but you can relate to a lot of the situation that came up for him. And because of that, you know, this doesn't feel like a superhero villain movie or whatever. This just feels like one of those situational movies. And if you were to take the Joker aspect away, you could still have a phenomenal movie with this, where you relate to some of the things where society and life is coming down on a specific person, whether that person deserves it or not. And because of that, it starts twisting that person's mind. And with that aspect, that alone, I would think that Joker would qualify for being a phenomenal movie. It brings back a lot of the seriousness and depth that you haven't seen in too many of the recent movies, because it's all about cliche and it's all about political correctness sort of statements. And you could already see a lot of criticisms that was brought up to Joker because of the fact that, it may be unique, but it doesn't meet the political correct conformist sort of criteria. And so they shot it down. But to me, I found this uniqueness to be refreshing. But what really blew my mind was the mind blowout that it has right in the middle of the movie. And it just completely twists the way you look at everything in that movie. Up till that point, it was all about, this person, and you could understand that he would eventually become the Joker because society coming down on him is slowly steering him towards insanity. But when that part came out where he was in that girl's apartment and the girl comes in and starts saying, please go out of the apartment, I think you are my neighbor, and you realize that relationship with that girl was just completely made up. It was so well done in a sense that, you've seen other movies such as Inception and stuff like that, bring up situations with the mind. But the thing about this that I loved was it was subtle. And it was so subtle that if you didn't, if you weren't careful, you might have overlooked it. And even if you caught it, you would feel like, now this person's going through some mental trauma, and that part was all made up, right? But the thing that it created, without mentioning it directly, is it put into question every single thing that came out before it and potentially came out after it. I mean, you started creating your own ideologies about what this character was like and how you somewhat pitied him because of how life was coming down on him. But ever since that point, you're not even exactly sure if that is the case. Was he really beat up by those people in the alley? Was he tricked by that other worker into taking the gun and then being blamed for it? Did he go to that talk show and was originally, focused and told how he was such a great fan and then later on ignored? Or was that a convenient excuse for the actions that he would do later to those particular people? And if that was the case, then what does it say about this person's ideologies as it goes forward? In some ways, Joker is a very frightening film because of the fact that even if everything in the initial perspective was real, you start realizing that depending upon certain situations in life, any particular person may get into a situation where they wage war on the entire society. And with that, from the society's perspective, that person becomes the Joker, right? Somebody who's been beaten down so badly that they don't trust anything in the world anymore, and they think that everything is antagonistic. And with that, you could understand that that is frightening because of the fact that that person has an agenda and that person has a reason. However, what's seriously even more frightening is if that person starts creating situations in their minds to which then they react and become victimized by those situations so that they can actually create the hate and the anger to go after whatever it is that they feel they needed to do so. In general, they're creating stories and victimizing themselves so that they could actually go further. That is even scarier. And what's interesting is, of course, based upon a lot of the situations that we believe to be, this is the truth versus this is our point of view, you could see that people can fall into that sort of situation, and that's why a lot of the conflicts occur. As we often say, there's no good guy or bad guy in a lot of these conflicts. It's just one point of view versus another. But what's scary about Joker is he may be creating his own points of view that will give him the ability to go out and do the actions that he does. And that is seriously frightening. And that is why I found this movie to be amazing. I mean, I've seen other movies which mess with your mind, Some of them are like Inception. It's a good example. But those were blunt. You understood that you were going to see a movie that messed with your mind, right? And then there are other movies like the animes by Satoshi Kon, which are some of the best mind manipulation and entertainment that I've seen. And films such as Perfect Blue seriously mess with your mind, where not only is the protagonist not understanding what reality is anymore, you as a viewer of that film don't understand what reality is anymore. And I thought that Satoshi Kon was a genius. In fact, he was so creative that some of the best known mind manipulation movies, including Inception and Black Swan, took parts of their movie are almost identical to Satoshi Kon's movies. If you ever look at Black Swan and see that bathtub scene, go back to Perfect Blue. You'll see an exact same one of that. And I thought Satoshi Kon was a genius at that. But compared to Joker, it takes second place. And the reason for that is, as much as you are not sure what is real and what is fake anymore, at least you understand that there is a lot of reality checks that are going on, and you realize that, this was kind of a fake situation. This was not what I was thinking, And you realize that with Joker, it's so subtle that you can miss it. And if you don't miss it, and if you realize it, you could go back to those scenes and look at them again. And no matter how many times you look at it, you're not sure if any of those scenes are real or if they're just messing with your mind. And so every motivation in the Joker, you're not sure if he's justified by being able to do so because of the fact that you're not sure if the oppression that he experienced is real or just a figment of his imagination. And I thought that by itself was so amazing. I haven't seen any movie that took it to that level of subtlety and complexity. And that by itself, I feel, gives this movie a uniqueness. It really gave the viewers something really new to watch. And in this day and era, when there's been so many years of so many different motion pictures, that's really hard to do. And because of that, for me, I feel if I compare it to all the other movies out there, I still feel this is one of the most incredible movies I have ever seen. And that is why, even though I absolutely love Alita Battle Angel, I would put Joker above it. Now, with that said, if I wanted to see a sequel, would I rather see a Joker sequel or Alita Battle Angel sequel? Well, for me, yeah, it's Alita Battle Angel. It's the type of comfort story that you want to see going, whereas the Joker is so unique in its own single story, you almost don't want to see a second movie because it probably will never be able to come up with the first one. If it can, then I will absolutely go see it. But if it doesn't, I would rather have it not, create a second movie. Whereas I know just from reading the manga that Alita Battle Angel, as good as it was the first few chapters of the manga. And my gosh, it gets better as it goes along. And I sure would love to see those movies. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say for today. Congratulations, Joker. Congratulations to everybody who was involved in creating this movie. I thought this one was phenomenal. And I hope that it wins several of the Academy Awards that it was nominated for. Okay, well, that's about it for this video. So, from your perspective, again, I am just a fan. I am not a critic. For all I know, everything I'm saying is completely all screwed up. But what did you feel about the Joker? Do you feel happy that it, got nominated for so many different awards, including Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Director? And do you feel that the movie should win many of the awards that it was nominated for? Anyway, if you could leave your comments in the comment section below, I would appreciate it as always. And I'll go back to doing the usual comics, animes, and movies sort of videos. And I hope you join me at that time. So until then, happy movie watching, happy anime watching, and as always, Jaya, nice day, everyone.